Okay, I believe we are live. At least that's what my phone says. Welcome, everybody, to Weekend Wind Down with business coach Nancy. I coach interior designers and other creative entrepreneurs to grow their business, make more sales, and do what they love in a way that they can actually be profitable and have a balanced life. So I'm really excited today. Is this only my second broadcast of the year? I think it is. I think it is. And I am here with Stacey Brown Randall today. So as you come on, please say hi to us so we know who is here. Stacey is known for generating business referrals without asking, which I love this topic because you know how uncomfortable it is for people to just say, you know, would you be able to give me a referral? It's such an uncomfortable feeling.
Yes, it is. And it's why most of us avoid it at all costs. We're like, how do I not do it? Because I'm not going to.
Exactly. It's really a hard thing to say, but there's so many other ways that you can do this. That's why I teach some of my clients that way, but I want to hear your ways. But why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you? I've never met you in person before, but we will meet at the end of March, beginning of April at Luann Nagara Live event, because you are also one of the authors in her new book coming out, like I am.
Yes, I'm excited to meet you in person there and be with the other authors of the book at her event as I guess we're all panelists and coaching people. So that's really, really exciting. So thank you again for having me on today. I appreciate it. I feel very left out that I don't have my wine. I don't know what I was thinking.
I know. Can you cheers with your water bottle?
I can. Here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's
Cheers,
not really this
everyone.
one. I'll just have to go have 2 cups after this. So 2 glasses after this to make up for it. So I feel like I'm missing out. But no, I am Stacey Brown Randall, and I help small business owners and solopreneurs generate referrals without asking. I'm all about helping people succeed in business growth. And one of the main reasons for that is because I'm a member of a very, very, very unfortunate club, but actually have some pretty good company in it, which is the Business Failure Club. So I learned a lot of hard lessons when my first business failed, which is an HR consulting firm, and took those lessons into business number 2, which has now morphed over the last number of years into the practice that I have today, which is teaching people, usually through my online programs, but also some VIP work, of what does it look like to build a referral engine in your business so that you never have to ask for referrals, but you're getting referrals in a sustainable way, in a consistent way. And let's be honest, in a way that feels very comfortable and authentic and genuine, because most of us want to do business that way. We want to feel good anytime we have to have a conversation, from a client conversation to, you know, a vendor conversation to a prospect conversation. So
definitely. And before I get into that with you, I just want to say hi to everybody. We have here Jennifer, Audrey, Kirsten, Alvin, Wendy Wallows. I can never say your name right, Wendy. I'm sorry. I'm Ganzakoffer. That's bad enough, right? And I can't say her name. Imagine that.
You should be able to say that right. You've got practice.
I know.
My last name is just not difficult. I think that was a prerequisite for my husband. I was like, it needs to be as easy as Brown. Because I butcher name. The students in my Growth by Referrals program know this. Like, I'll get on lives and be like, hey, I'll be like, not saying your last name, don't know how to pronounce it. I know you've been a member for like 3 years and I love you, but I can't say your last name. And they are just very forgiving.
Okay, so Wendy gave me the here. Wallace Chuck.
Wallace Chuck.
Right.
All right.
Wallace Chuck. Thank you, Wendy. I will never forget that now, I hope. Wallace Chuck. My maiden name was Sylvester. So easy, like the cat.
Right. Yes, it's like mine was Brown. It's the color. Like,
it's so easy.
Can't get it wrong.
So tell me a little bit about the HR, human resources business that you had and what happened to it.
Yeah, so it's such an interesting story. I feel like when I tell it, people are like, I mean, sometimes if you had the opportunity to know the business back then and to see the clients that I did business with, like I had KPMG, one of the big 4 accounting firms, as a client. I had BDO, one of the next big 3 accounting firms underneath the big 4. I had Snyder's Lance, the snack food company. I had Ally Bank, one of the large banks. I had the city of Charlotte, which is where I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Like, if you were on the outside looking in and you're like, wow, look at those clients. And I had articles published in some well-respected HR trade publications like World at Work. And I was also in Accounting Today. Like, I had publications. I was interviewed by Bloomberg News. I mean, that's never happened since, right? Like if you were to look at my business and that HR consulting firm from when I started it and what it looked like, you would have been like, from the outside looking in, you would have been like, whoa, she's crushing it. Like, look at those clients, look at all that credibility, look at that PR she's getting. And the reality of it is that I was a spinning little hamster wheel. And I was on what I refer to as the entrepreneurial roller coaster. And I think it's what happens to most of us. And it's very normal in the beginning of business, right? You decide you're going to start your firm. You're very excited, right? So your audience is like, I'm the best interior designer. I'm the best home stager there is, right? And so like, I'm going to start this business, and you go working and looking for work, right? And so the roller coaster goes up, 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 up. It's like, yeah, I'm looking for work. I got some work. This is so exciting. Now I'm going to do the work, and my business development's going to tank and take a nosedive. And then that work is done, and you look up and you're like, wait, there's no more work. I need to go get more work. So then you're back on the roller coaster, up, 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 trying to get business development, get new clients. You get some, then you stop. And you put your head down and you do the work, and your business development tanks again. It's a very normal roller coaster for most businesses. And for a number of years before I transitioned into what I do now with my referral training, for a number of years, I was a business and productivity coach. So I saw this with my clients a lot. And it's that roller coaster. And I've been telling them, like, it's okay to be on it in the beginning, but you better have a plan to get off of it. Because if you can't get off that roller coaster, that feast or famine, no work, lots of work, no work, lots of work, it's not sustainable. You'll burn out. And that is ultimately what happened to me. I worked entirely too hard for every one of those clients that I did land. I did not receive one referral in my HR consulting firm. And I was doing really good work. It wasn't like I wasn't doing great work. Actually, in fact, the only referral I received in my HR consulting firm was 2 years after I closed down that business.
Well, that's not helpful.
No, not helpful at all, which I still took the business because at that point I was in my corporate job and I was like, oh, I'll take the speaking engagement on the side. It'll be fun, right? Speaking engagements always pay well. So
yes,
it's just one of those situations where like one of the lessons, I learned a couple of hard lessons, but one of the most important lessons that I carried forward with me when I was able to start my second business, the business I have now, one of those hard lessons I carried forward was I better figure out a way to touch business development every day. And I better be willing to touch it in a way that I'm actually willing to touch it every day. Like you and I, Nancy, we could get up every day and cold call, but we won't like it, which means we will find a reason not to do it.
That's right.
Right. It's like that. There's a reason why in sales it's called eat your frogs first, because nobody wants to do it. So that's why they have those hard sales things you have to do, like cold calling. And so from that perspective, I was like, well, I need to find something I'm willing to do because I need to be able to do it every day. I need to get off the roller coaster. I need to have a strategy and a system and a process behind me that can work when I'm not necessarily working on sales. And I need something that works without me having to be, I don't need to be in front of you is the only way I can get clients. I need it to happen behind the scenes as well. Yeah. And so when I went to that corporate job, so my business failed, and this was back in 2012. So when my business failed and I went about 15, 16 months into a corporate job, that company actually happened to be in the financial services industry. And I just watched how they train new financial advisors. And some light bulbs just started going off. And I was seeing how they were training people to launch their financial practices. And I was like, oh, wow, they need to have a system and a process. And I need to be able to have that same system and a process, but I want to do it with referrals. Well, you know, Nancy, as well as I know, if you Google, how do I get referrals? 99.9% of all advice is going to be, we'll go ask. And my personal favorite is, well, and Nancy, if you're not willing to ask, something's just wrong with you. You've got head trash to get over. And
and it's very hard to just ask for a straight referral. There's definitely other ways. And it's funny you're in financial services because my ex-husband was in financial services. And he definitely taught me a lot about how to reach out to people, how to teach them in a non-salesy way, how to refer you also over time once you develop that relationship. But many times, every day, the first thing you need to do when you sit down at your desk is do that business development part so that your pipeline doesn't get empty and you don't end up with that roller coaster.
Right. Absolutely.
But people are so afraid of it. And I get it. It's something you have to train yourself, force yourself. I always say, ignore the pain and just do it.
Right. Unless you can find a system that you actually are willing to do. And I think That was the secret for me. The secret for me was, it's like, it's anybody can do anything for a year, right? We can survive through just about anything for a year, but we're talking like, I want a business that's successful in 5 years and in 10 years. And I don't want to be doing things I hate in 5 or 10 years. And so being in the financial industry for that short, teeny tiny amount of time really allowed me to realize how they're actually teaching sales. And I got some sales training, and I was like, and I started kind of realizing and researching how people were being taught to generate referrals. And at that same time, I also got certified as a productivity coach. So when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to leave corporate America. I'm going to become a productivity and business coach. And I'm going to take what I've learned to grow my practice. But I want to generate referrals, and I just want to do it without asking. So I'm going to see if I can. So I came up with my strategy, which is now a very refined 5-step process. But I came up with my strategy out of sheer necessity. Like, I just needed to have a way to touch business development every day in a way that I would. And the cool thing is now running the referral generating plan process that I teach to my students, they go through my program. I use it to this day, and I generate I always tell folks, it's important to generate whatever number of referrals you need. And at one point, there was a time where I was, and consistently every year and have generated multiple referrals, like in terms of hundreds, like over 100 every year. And so that's what that business needed. I mean, I work with a lot of people who are like, I can't take more than 15 clients. Like, that's crazy. Just get me the
referrals. Right. They're referrals first, and then you have to learn how to sell into a product if they need you and if they're your ideal client and all those other ifs.
But this is what I tell folks is like, look, you have to fill your pipeline. You have to fill your pipeline of prospects, and then you have to have a sales process to take them from the buyer's journey down to the point where they say yes or no to you. And whatever that looks like, it can, whatever it's going to look like for you is great. Hopefully, how to, once they're in the pipeline, how to have the right conversations with them to get them out of the pipeline into a yes as a client. But what most business owners don't know how to do is fill the pipeline. And so there's lots of things we can do that's business development related to fill the pipeline. We can network, we can advertise, we can do PR, we can run Facebook ads, right? We can sponsor events, we can be speakers. We can also get referrals. And I just tell folks, look, you're probably going to need a number of those tactics to bring people into your business while you're working to grow. Like, if you think about it like a pie piece, right? Like, all these pieces can be all the things you're doing. My goal when I work with somebody is, all right, you've got this many of all your clients coming in. You got this many coming from referrals. I just want to make this as big as I can, because I know the minute you're bringing in more clients or prospects by referrals, I'm going to save you a ton of time. And I'm going to save you a ton of money, because you don't need to do advertising and Facebook ads and spending every night of the week networking or stalking people on LinkedIn. Like, you just get more time back when that stuff's coming through referrals. But here's the rub. Most of us are not comfortable asking for those referrals. Like, we don't want to ask, because when we ask, we're looking across the table at someone and we're seeing them, they start doing this. They start shifting in their seats, and they're like,
body language.
How do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? Like, I need to get out of here now. And so we know we're making people uncomfortable because we're uncomfortable, and we can feel it. And I always tell folks, there are 3 types of people in the world when it comes to referrals. The first group is the group that likes to ask for referrals. They just like it. They don't have any head trash, so to speak, around it. They don't have any issues with it. They could ask the Starbucks barista for a referral. Like, they don't care. They're like, yeah, what is the big deal? You just ask for the referrals. I don't understand those people.
I don't
but
think
I know they exist. They're not that common. When I do my presentation in front of live audiences, and they're like, I was like, who likes to ask? If I'm sitting in front of 100 people, maybe 2 will raise their hands. They're very, very rare. But that's one group. The second group is the folks that they don't like to ask for referrals, but they've been told if you want them, you're going to have to ask. So they do it, and they don't enjoy it. And the third group are the people who have also been told, hey, if you want referrals, ask for them. And they're like, no. So they don't ask. But the problem is group 2 and group 3, those that never want to ask, so they don't, or ask because they have to, but they don't want to. The issue is those 2 groups have been taught, well, if you're not willing to ask, then you don't get referrals. And that just did not sit well with me. I was like, no, that's actually looking
at how true.
Right, because it's looking at how a referral happens, and it's actually not honoring why a referral happens. And the truth is, referrals don't happen because you ask. Not the ones that close, not the ones that turn into clients. Referrals happen for a human dynamic and complete different psychology reasons. And so what I teach is, okay, let's figure out how to tap into that right? To take care of our referral sources so that we're receiving referrals and never, never asking for them, because I want to speak to group 2 and group 3, the group that says, I don't want to ask, or help me stop asking because I hate it. And I just happen to create for myself. And now obviously I teach others. It's just 5 steps. None of the stuff is hard. It's not rocket science, but it is knowing what to do and who to do it for and how it all works together so that you can actually have a steady stream of referrals coming in that you don't ask for.
Yes. Okay. Hold on. Before I want to make sure I say hello and answer one question. Kelly, yes. Thank you for watching from the dentist, but you can come back and watch it later. It will be recorded. That's so sweet. And I want to say hi to Adam. Yeah, I put it up before. He's here from Australia, watching us from Australia, which is so sweet.
Oh.
Hi, Maria. This is going to be a great information-packed episode on how to generate referrals without asking for referrals. I know I give my clients ideas all the time as well, but Stacey's the expert on this. So please share the broadcast if you have interior designer friends on your list or in your group so that they can learn from this too. We would both appreciate it. So, okay. So one of the things I always say, trying to bring that back down, is you need to have a lot of touch points with, well, one, always ask where people found you. It's always my first question. Can I ask how you found me? Because I may be making assumptions that they found me in one way. And when I get them, because they're just on my calendar suddenly. And then when I ask them, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that, right? So I start to verify whether my weekend wind downs, my Facebook Lives, my podcast appearances, and the same for interior designers. Where did people get you from? Where they find you from? Is your Google working? Are you getting referrals from your past clients? Is it coming from house? I know we're not supposed to talk about them, but where is it coming from? And then that's part of what you need to focus on. I would assume that's part of your 5 steps.
So, what's interesting, it is step 1 of the whole process is making sure you're very clear on who your referral sources are. And it's called IDing the who. So it's who are the people who are referring to you. And I can kind of go into how we find those and get really crystal clear from the data perspective. But I love what you said first about, you're going to bring in clients in different ways until you are 90% one way of bringing in clients, whether that's referrals or something else. You're going to have multiple ways that clients are finding you. And you really need to understand not only what I call the hierarchy of how those people are becoming, how they're finding out about you to become into your pipeline, when they're at the top and you want to push them into the pipeline, right? Where are they coming from? It's the hierarchy of knowing what sources, those are what I refer to as sources, what sources are actually working, but then the hierarchy of your close ratio with those different sources. So obviously the number one way that people come to me is through referral. I mean, good Lord, I would hope so. Or what am I doing teaching this stuff, right? That would be bad. That would be very inauthentic. But so I look at not only is the number one way that people find me through referrals, it's also when I think of my hierarchy of the close, it's also my highest hierarchy in terms of close rate. If someone's referred to me and they're a fit and I think I can help them, then definitely more than likely because they're ready, right? That's a referral is ready to buy and already trust you because someone has referred them that trusts you. You get that transfer of trust. And now they know they got a problem. That's why they're talking to you. So they're ready to buy and they trust you. 9 times out of 10, if you're referred to me, I'm probably going to close you unless I decide I can't help you, or you've never heard of my pricing and you had no idea what to expect and you thought I worked for free, right? So that's usually the only 2 reasons why that won't happen. But most people refer to you, they're less price sensitive because they have already decided you're valuable, which is what makes them amazing.
Which makes it amazing. And I just want to emphasize what you're saying here. So if you're getting your pipeline coming in from all different directions, not only do you want to know what direction it's coming from, you need to know what your closing rate is, how many of those become a client. So I'm just going to bring up a quick story here that I have not talked about yet live. I was on a webinar over the weekend for someone who's, I don't know, maybe new to the industry. I had never heard of him before. And he was doing a 1-hour webinar selling people into a consult that was going to then see if they qualify for his course, which taught them how to do Facebook ads. And it was targeted specifically to interior designers. And I'm listening to this webinar and I'm thinking, he did have testimonials of interior designers who quoted that they got 60, 70 referrals from their 3-step funnel Facebook video ad.
So they got not referrals, they got leads from his ads that he built for them.
Correct, leads. And I'm thinking, but how many of them actually turn into clients? And how many of them are you're paying for the course, you're paying for Facebook ads. Are you comfortable on video because you're going to be asked to do series of 3 videos? Are you comfortable enough with technology to actually follow the instruction to create the Facebook ad? And then once those leads come in, how many of them actually close? Are you being trained also on your closing conversation and how to be that go-to designer? And I just was listening to this and I'm like, oh, like, I so don't agree with this. And I'm sure he's had some success as I have, as you have, but it worried me that they didn't necessarily talk to the closing rate of those leads. Like that was the missing piece for me. Like if you could tell me that. And again, if you're experienced in doing video and you're not afraid of technology and all that stuff, but I thought, oh, this worries me.
Yeah, it's interesting when I look at my hierarchy of close. So not necessarily the hierarchy of how things come in. The majority of it's going to come through referrals. But when I look at my hierarchy of close, obviously my highest close ratio is going to be with people who are referred to me. My next highest close ratio will be with people who've either read my book, Generating Business Referrals Without Asking, or they listen to my podcast. So I'm in their earbuds every week. They're getting to know me. They get to know my style. They get to trust me. They know that they can ask questions and then I could feature them on the podcast. And they've read my book. So they're like, okay, I trust her. And the case studies are in there. And so there's that additional layer of trust, but it takes longer. You've got to listen to more podcast episodes to decide you like me. If you're just referred to me, then you're like, okay, I trust you. So you also have to understand there's a time differentiator there. And then I'd say the third level for me, so it's like referrals and it's read my book and a lot of times both. Read my book and you listen to my podcast, which is Roadmap to Grow Your Business. So
I was just going to ask what the name of it was.
I should probably say
Roadmap to Grow Your Business.
Yes. And so the book and the podcast are my next highest. And then my third level would really be anybody who's heard me speak. And I would also say at that top level is, underneath referrals is if they've seen me speak on stage. And if they see me speak on stage, again, they feel like, oh, okay, I know her, I trust her. I mean, I've walked off stage and had people be like, okay, how do I hire you? Right? Like, I'm ready to do this, right? Because there's a connection there, right? And they're building trust the same way a referral shows up with that trust and they've never met you. Someone who sees me speak or reads my book or listens to my podcast builds a little bit of trust over time, but faster. Then the next level down for me is really they're hearing me, right? On this Facebook Live, or they're hearing me on somebody else's podcast, or maybe they're paying attention to like a webinar I'm doing with somebody else or something to that effect.
Exposure.
Exposure. And then below that is everything else. It's the Facebook ads, it's the webinars, it's the social media posts, it's everything else. And the close ratio is less and it takes longer. Like, so I'll run Facebook ads. I'll do webinars that'll bring people in to like, hey, like, let's talk about if you need to be in my program or not. That's my big thing is I don't want people in it who it can't help because it is an investment. I mean, it's not thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, but it's not dollars either. And so I always tell folks, like, we need to make sure they're the right fit. But at the end of the day, that process is just going to take longer. I would rather sit back and be like, oh, guess what? Nancy just referred me somebody and it's sitting in my inbox. Now it's my job just to go close them. Like, so much easier way to build a practice.
It is. I just got an email right before our broadcast from somebody who said, I want to, connect you with this interior designer she's looking for, blah, blah, blah. Would that be okay? I'm like, yeah. And it's definitely people who have seen my videos, heard me speak, maybe in my group, saw me on LinkedIn, wherever my exposure is definitely where it's coming from. And that does take time. But rarely do I call anyone and go, would you refer me? It's just not authentic for me and it's not comfortable. I'll say, would you mind giving me a great, video testimonial to one of my past clients? Would you share this broadcast? To me, that's a referral right there. Share the broadcast. But to just call someone and say, do you have a referral for me? It's not something I've ever done, or I don't think I've ever told my clients to ask for referrals. What I say, and what I did for one client who might be watching, I said, call your favorite past client, your favorite 2 or 3 past clients, and just say, I loved working with you. How do I find more of you? And one guy did say to her, you never asked me for a referral, which was funny because, I just wanted more for them to find out, what, where are they hanging out? Where are they? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on none of these? And you need to be physically somewhere so that you can pick one or two places to really focus your marketing and not be everywhere when you don't need to be. It's too time consuming. I know you have 3 kids, correct?
Yes, I have 3 kids under the age of 11.
Oh, okay. So I have 3 kids over the age of 19. So it's a lot easier for me to be everywhere at this stage of life. But most people, this is not what they can do. They're one woman or one man show. So asking for referrals is a really difficult thing. So, all right. So let's go through your 5 steps.
Perfect. So, it's interesting when I tell people, so you had that example of like asking your clients, like, where do I find more of you? Like, I have people who come to my program that would be uncomfortable doing that. And I'm like, you know what? There's things that we can do before it ever has to get to that place, before we ever have to get there. Right. And I think that's the piece that people are missing. So I teach a process inside my program where it's helping people understand, like, what if you don't have any referral sources? So let me first just speak to the person who maybe doesn't have any referral sources. Maybe in your first year, second year in business, you're getting business the way I did on that roller coaster and you're networking for them or doing Facebook ads or whatever you've discovered is bringing you clients, even if they're not your best and right clients, they're money, right?
Right.
So you may not have a lot of referral sources, but there is a way, and I always tell folks, there's a way to take clients and turn them into referral sources and to take your centers of influence, and which are people in your network, but it's not your thousands of people it's like a subset, smaller group that know what you do. They don't do what you do, so there's no competitive overlap, but they come across your ideal client so that they'd actually be in a position to send people to you. So it's looking at how do I take my centers of influence, turning them into referral sources, taking my clients and turning them in. So as I'm going through my 5 steps, if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, wait, do I have any referral sources? Don't stress and think, this isn't for me. There's a way to develop them. We all start with 0 referral sources. I have people who come into my program who have been in business years and still have 0 referral sources. So it's possible to cultivate them. It's more work. We got to back up and do a little bit more work. So as I'm talking through these steps, just if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, okay, wait, I don't think I have any referral sources. This doesn't discount you. It just means we've got some work to do before we get you to a place where we can drop your referral sources into these 5 steps and what it's going to ultimately look like. And the other thing I would say before I dive into the 5 steps is as I'm going through this, if you guys have a myth you've always believed about referrals that feels real to you, ask the question, right? So a top question I'm always going to get is, I've always been told I have to ask, which obviously we've debunked that myth. That I'm going to prove to you how you don't have to ask. But a lot of people are like, well, I've also been told I have to pay a commission or incentivize, or I have to offer a discount to get referrals. I'm happy to debunk that myth as well, because it's not true. I also have people say, well, oh my gosh, it's going to take so much time because the only way for me to generate referrals is to be out there networking. I'm like, nope, that's a myth too. And other people are like, well, I can't control it. It just happens. It's like the magic unicorn that just shows up when it wants to. I'm like, nope. I'm happy to debunk that myth as well. So if you're watching this and I'm going through my 5 steps and you have something that is, holding you back from like fully being like, could this work for me? Ask your question, because there isn't anything in the 5 years I've been teaching people how to generate referrals without asking that I haven't been asked. So if you have like that belief pattern and you're thinking to yourself, I've always been told XYZ, give me a chance to kind of debunk it for you, because more than likely I can.
Can you give one quick tip for someone who's literally watching and saying, I have no one in my pipeline and I can't think of anyone I call it a circle of influence, I can't even think of a starting point. Now, I have a ton of tips as well, but I want one tip from you. Where would they even start? Give us one avenue that they may not realize is an avenue they can start.
Like developing. Okay. So like developing someone into a referral source. Okay. So the easiest people to turn into referral sources are your clients, but sometimes they're the most uncomfortable ones for us to even start a conversation with, because what you are not, N-O-T, not going to do is walk up to that client and be like, you definitely need to send me more of you. Like you need to send me more clients. Like that's not what we're doing here. Okay. So, but it's about, and let me just back up for a second. And I think the important part for people to understand is, why does a referral happen? A referral, like let's say I'm sending a referral to you, Nancy. It actually has nothing to do with you. A referral has nothing to do with the person on the end that's going to get a new client. We all think a referral is all about us. I've got to be great. I've got to do great work. I've got to be referable. I got to get those referrals because it's all about me. It's not about you. A referral doesn't happen because of Nancy. A referral happens because I'm having a conversation with someone and they talk about a problem, or I help them identify a problem just through conversation, that they have a problem, they have a pain, and they need to solve it. And I'm going to wait, because I want to help, right? Oh, wait, I know Nancy can solve your problem. I got to connect you. You've got to go talk to Nancy because she can solve your problem. That is when a true referral happens. And in that case, what you have to remember is I'm helping my friend. You're just the beneficiary of a new client. And yay, we're glad
yay. But that's also because the person who's referring me saw me or heard from me or had got a card from me or got exposure to me at some point fairly recently that I was the one they thought of when their friend was giving their pain point, correct?
Well, in some level, yes. And I think that is the typical way that people look at it. I've got to keep in touch with people so that they can remember me when they're in that moment of having a conversation with someone. But here is what I teach my students. We're going to transcend keeping in touch, and we're going to move into top of mind. And if I can hit the right part of psychology with the right language and do the right touch points that are going to have really, truly impact and that are going to be memorable and meaningful, you're going to remember me even if I'm not showing up in your inbox every 30 days with a newsletter or a send out card, or the fact that I called you on the phone every 45 days because the system told me to. That's all just keeping in touch. That's not what I teach. I teach how do we transcend that to do less, because we're busy business owners trying to make clients happy. How do we do less for our referral sources, but make them feel more loved? And so what we do has to have more of an impact. But I always tell folks when a referral is happening, it's not about you. It's about the referral source helping someone they know, and you happen to be the solution provider. Bonus, yay for you. You got a new client, but you don't matter in the triangle. You don't matter. The hero of the triangle is me as the referral source. Your referral source is the person who drops a new client into your lap, that brings you somebody who's typically ready to buy because, wait, I got a problem. Let's go solve it. I'm in solving mode, which means I'm in buying mode. Right? Oh, right. You know what? I can't stand this kitchen. Every time I stand in it, I want to pull my hair out. Well, have you ever thought about renovating it? Because I know the perfect designer that can help you make this into your dream kitchen. Oh my gosh, you totally got to talk to Kelly, right? It's those type of conversations is where the real richness of those clients come in. What people don't realize though is we can make sure that we're always the one people are thinking about if we just do a few key things. Because part of my system is we take care of our referral sources, and we take really good care of our referral sources. And Nancy, if I do something to help you, how do you typically feel towards me?
I want to do something to help you back.
Yes, because thank goodness that's how God made us. Well, most of us. Some people are dead inside and they just want to take, and they never want to give, right?
Right.
So most of us are in that giving mentality. We're like, wait, someone just helped me. How do I help them back? Now, we don't look at this like, I sent you a referral. You got to send me a referral. None of that. No, that's not what it looks like, right? When I was a business coach, I had a ton of financial advisors that would send me business owners to do work with, because they had a vested interest. If their business owner could be more productive and run a better business, they could make more money, to have more money to give to the financial advisor. I had somebody once ask me, they're like, do you send referrals back to your financial advisors? And I was like, I don't know enough people with money to send referrals to all the financial advisors that refer me. Not even possible, but I have found other ways to take care of my referral sources. So the first thing I just want to make sure that everybody understands is that this isn't something where when we're focused on what we're about to do, we're about to think about you. You are not a part of the equation. You're the one doing all the work, but you're not a part of the equation, and you're never supposed to ask. So if you are asking, I just want you to stop that, right? Until you can kind of put these 5 steps in place. And so we've talked a little bit about the first step, and the first step is you need to know who is your who. Who are your referral sources? And in my book in chapter 8, I go into great detail on how to do this. But let me give you guys the highlights. If you want some weekend homework, let me give you some highlights, because if you do this step once and you do it right, you never have to do it again. It's my promise.
I'm going to take some notes. Okay, go ahead.
You got to promise to do it right, right? You know what they say with the survey, garbage in, garbage out. So let's not put garbage in. So ultimately, what you want to do is you want to pull out a list of your clients. Now, if you want a gold star, you'll pull out a list of the prospects that came to you but didn't become clients. But let's just say, for sake of argument, we're just looking at our clients. So step one is we're going to take a list of our clients and we're going to figure out, where do they come from? The sources we talked about earlier. How'd they hear about us? Oh, I met them at a networking event. Oh, I did a Facebook ad and they came to that. Oh, they clicked on an SEO ad that I had, or whatever it is. Oh, they were referred by Nancy. Oh, they were referred by Stacey. Oh, they were referred by Tom, right? And so we are looking for the clients that were referred by another human. And so what the data we're trying to grab is the client and the referral source's name. And that is ultimately that first step in that process is, who are your referral sources? Well, you go back and look at your clients and you figure out who was referred to you and by whom were they referred. Now, if you have prospects, this is great because you can go back to your prospects that didn't become clients and still figure out who are those referral sources for those prospects. I want you to have as high a close ratio as possible with your referrals, but I don't need you to have 100%. There will be people referred to you that are not the right fit, or you don't like them, or they decide to go a different direction for whatever reason. You're not going to win them all. That's okay. I want you to have a high enough close ratio you win most of them, and there's a process for how that looks. But I think at the end of the day, it's this idea of, who are our clients and which ones were referred to us and who referred them? Who are our prospects that didn't become clients and who referred them? I want the names of those referral sources. And once you have those names, then you have your list of gold. And I make the argument to my students in my Growth by Referrals program that your list of referral sources are actually more valuable than your list of clients. Now, I recognize clients bring the money, and you can't have a business without the money. But guess what? You also can't have a business without the clients. So if you're going to bring in referrals from people, they become most important because they bring you the clients that then bring you the money. So I always tell folks, we're not going to treat our clients any less. We just need to figure out a way to elevate how we take care of our referral sources. So step one is to know who they are.
Okay.
Step two is, and people are like, this kind of feels out of sequence, but stay with me. Step two is, okay, now that we know who your referral sources are, the next step is I need to know that when you receive a referral, you have an immediate thank you follow-up process. And Nancy, I'm going to put you totally on the spot here. Can you imagine what I would say would be the appropriate or proper way to thank for a referral?
I'm going to guess
Mama would have taught you.
Well, my mama, handwritten note in the snail mail with a stamp on.
Yes.
I'm not good at that, but you're right.
A lot of people aren't. And it's so funny. I was sitting with a business owner yesterday who was doing a VIP session with me. And he was like, but my handwriting. I'm like, don't you say it. Don't you tell me that your handwriting is bad. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm a straight shooter and I'm going to tell you like it is. It doesn't matter to me if your handwriting stinks. At the end of the day, I need you writing that note. And I tell people, if you have bad handwriting, write slower. It's like I used to tell my grandmother. No, you can't even do that. You can't even have someone else write it. It's got to come from you. This is so important. So important. It's like, I always tell folks, if you have bad handwriting, write slower. It's like I used to tell my grandmother, she'd be like, you talk really fast for a Southerner. And I'd be like, Grandma, you need to listen faster. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
you might be the fastest talker, and I live in New York, and we're all fast talkers, but you talk even faster.
I get really excited, and it's like, I know it just goes.
But I know, but it's good information, so keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I do have a little Boston in me, so I'm sure that only helps. My grandfather on my dad's side, obviously, a little bit of Boston, a little bit of Yankee, just a little bit. And I'm married a Yankee, so, that's why I can say that. So I need to know that you can sit down and you can write a proper thank you note. And here's why. Two things. One, the impact a handwritten note has on somebody else, you cannot underestimate because we don't get them anymore, right? We haven't been actually getting them for decades, but they're not commonplace.
They really are.
Yeah. And they're not commonplace anymore, right? I mean, we just don't get that many. So it's a handwritten thank you note. And I want you to use kind of the right language in that handwritten thank you note so that the thank you note is worth your time. And so I'm going to jump ahead real quick and just say step 4 of my process is knowing how to use the right language. And I call it planting referral seeds. So let me give you an exact example of what I'm talking about. In this handwritten thank you note, I want you to write it because I know it's going to have impact. And the second reason why I want you to write it is because why should I send you any more referrals if you can't thank me for the one I just sent you? and thank me in a way that matters, that I'll remember, because I'll notice your email and I'll notice your text, and then it's buried under hundreds of other texts and emails, and I'll forgot you thanked me. And actually, I may wonder or question if you ever did, because how you sent it with email or text was so quick. And some people say, well, can I call? I'm like, you can call, you can email, and you can text, but you're also sending a handwritten thank you note. And I want this note to be very simple. And I want you to plant a very important referral seed. And in the program, we call this Thank by Name. Now, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of scripts and things that I give in the program, but this is the most important one for people who are just kind of getting started with this. And it's the Thank by Name, which means you're going to say, Nancy, thank you so much for referring Mark to me. It's an honor to work with the people that you know. If I can ever help you, please let me know. Right? Now, you don't always have to do an offer to help at the end, but why wouldn't you? They just helped you. But the thank by name is when I'm not just saying, Nancy, thanks so much for the recent referral. I'm saying, thank you for the referral to Mark. Because what happens with a handwritten note is I'm going to see it and you're going to remind me, that's right, I did refer her Mark. I appreciate that she recognized it. And then you may take that thank you note and put it on your bulletin board or somewhere else on your desk because it's a thank you note and you don't get them that often. And then in 5 days or 30 days, when you go to move that note and you're like, what is this again? And you open it up and I say, thank you, Nancy, for the referral to Mark. You're like, that's right. I referred her Mark. That's fantastic. And I'm just reiterating and I'm getting into the psychology and the human dynamic. What I want to do is I want to be in your subconsciousness. I want you thinking about me even when you don't know you're thinking about me. Right. In a really good professional way. Not in a weird way.
That's right. No weird way here. It's a PG. No weird thinking.
Yeah, totally PG. Totally PG. So, but that's the importance of a thank you note. It's the importance of a thank you note is to make sure they know what they did and why you're so appreciative of it, because they make your life easier. So tell them that, right? Because when we help people, we want to be acknowledged for it. And then a lot of times we want to figure out how we can do it again because it made us feel good. And we're going to build the language into that. Now, step one, like I said, it's the messiest part we're going to do. It's going to be the one you're going to do. And if you have a CRM and you identify your referral sources, it may be easy, it may be hard. You never have to do step one again if you do it right. Step two, you will do every single time you receive a referral from somebody. You'll send a handwritten thank you note. Now, of course, in my program, I talk about what if you get multiple referrals from somebody and do you change the language to the card? Of course. Yes, of course you do, right? But that moves us into step three. And step three is, okay, great. You're getting referrals, maybe only one a year, and you're writing that thank you note. What are you doing for your referral source in between receiving referrals that is allowing you to be top of mind and to be memorable and meaningful? In the program, I call it minding our M&Ms. So what are you doing to be memorable and meaningful? And what are you doing to stay top of mind? And so how we think about what we're going to do with how we're going to stay memorable and meaningful and stay top of mind, it's all in our outreach. So my basic philosophy is referrals come from relationships. Relationships are maintained by connections. And the way we deliver on connections are through what I call touch points, same thing that you do, right? We call them touch points. Most people are like, touch points. And I was like, outreach. Just think outreach. Just know that the program, I call them touch points. And so it's the touch points we're going to do, that these are not like any touch points you've ever done before. And before anybody says, wait, I don't have money, I have had people build this on a shoestring budget. So don't you dare think you've got to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars. But what we do and what we say is going to be different than probably anything else you've ever done. And that is what makes it memorable and meaningful. That is what allows you to stay top of mind. That is what moves you into the subconsciousness of your referral sources. And that is what allows this whole process to actually work. There's no magic involved, but we're definitely playing on human dynamic and psychology and really what it means to take care of people, all from a very authentic place and very genuine. So let me give you an example.
Special.
Yeah, make them feel special. It's that idea of saying, hey, I see you. And I care about you. And guess what? You just made my life easier. So I'm going to take care of you. But I'm not going to just send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. And I'm not just going to call you and say thanks. And I'm not going to send you my newsletter and feel like I did a good job and I took care of you. Or I'm not going to send you a koozie with my logo on it because that's about me and not about you. Right? You got to take off your marketing hat. You got to take off your prospecting hat. We're in a referral zone here and we think different. Our mindset is different. Our actions and activities are different. And so let me give you an example of a touch point that really went over well. Now, I'm going to give an example. Oh, I wish I had it with me, but I don't. I'm going to give an example of a gift, but gifts are one of multiple things that I tell people you can do. So don't hear me give this example and think, I got to give a bunch of gifts. No, you don't. I had an insurance agent who literally brought in like 115% more business by referrals and barely had any money to spend. Okay. So like sent everything, like no gifts were going out the door for her. So here's what I would say. So this is my example of a meaningful and memorable touch point that allows me to stay top of mind, but it met my referral source where they are. So for Mother's Day a couple of years ago, I sent all my female referral sources that were also mothers, because you got to know something about your referral sources, right? So I knew most of my referral sources are business owners who are also parents, because that's who my clients were at the time when I was a business and productivity coach. So this is an example from a few years back, but it's great. And so I sent out these Wonder Woman water bottles, right? So imagine this water bottle, it's red, and there's the Wonder Woman emblem on it, right? And I sent out the Wonder Woman water bottles, and on the card it said, and it was for Mother's Day, and on the card it said, "Never forget, you are a hero. Happy Mother's Day, Stacey." And when they removed the card, my logo wasn't anywhere on that water bottle. My name wasn't tattooed to the bottom of it. There was nothing that said, "Don't forget this came from Stacey." But Nancy, do you actually think anybody forgot who gave them their Wonder Woman water bottle?
No, I'm thinking I need to send you a referral so I get a Wonder Woman water bottle.
I do lots of cool things. I do lots of cool things, not just Wonder Woman water bottle. Lots of cool stuff. But anyways, I mean, I better be a master at this or something.
What I'm hearing is it's very personalized for who they are and what they are going to remember. And that's what you mean by just kind of, well, the way I'm interpreting it is distinguishing yourself from the pack, not just an email. I just got this the other day and I thought it was fabulous, but they downloaded from my Facebook page and sent me, not the other day, it was a month ago now. It's a message that says happy birthday. And I thought, how cute. And I know she has a app that she sells, right? But I thought, how cute is this, right? I do remember her. She sends it every year. And I always remember her because she takes a picture from my own Facebook page and downloads it. But you're talking about pumping that up even further. And she does have her information on the back, by the way. Right.
Which makes it a little bit about her, which it's okay, right? It's actually, that's part of her marketing. And I would tell you, if that's something you do for marketing, keep that in the marketing vein. But when we move into the referral level, our logo's not going on stuff because we're in referral mode.
I want people to hear that again. Say that again.
So that is when your logo is on something, you're in marketing or prospecting mode. When you are doing something in referral mode, your logo doesn't exist because what we're doing is taking care of our referral sources. They don't need your logo for us to be able to do that. They need your name on something, like signature on the card as to why they got it, right? But what people are always so afraid about is like, oh my God, I'm going to miss an opportunity for them to remember who I am. Not if what you're doing is right and not if what you're doing is actually going to have impact. And what I tell folks is that, listen, the way these pieces work together is ultimately we're going to be memorable and meaningful in our outreach, in those touch points and what we do. But we're not just showering them with a bunch of cards and a bunch of gifts and a bunch of one-on-one time and events and all the things that we can do, right?
Right.
It's step 4 that makes step 3 make sense. So step 3 is building out that 1-year plan of the outreach, the touch points that you're going to do that are memorable and meaningful and keep you top of mind and are all about the referral source. We build it on a 1-year plan because I need you to figure out the budget for it. And I need to make sure that you're actually going to have a plan that's not overdoing it, where it puts you into stalker territory. You don't need to be doing something every month. That's weird, right?
Right.
And you don't need to become gimmicky, because that's usually my biggest fear when students go through my online program is like, please be very careful not to become gimmicky and just giving out the latest thing. Oh, Kristen just said, I get a gift every year from my financial guy for Christmas. I wait for it and get excited about it. Yes, that's right. And it only endears you more to him, right? And that's an important part, an important piece of this whole process. So step 3 is the what we're going to let me read what Sharon's comment was. I had a client who told me about her favorite tea when I was there installing. She offered me some. She's been a great referral source, and you gave her the tea for Christmas. Good job, Sharon. Exactly. It was personal. The other thing I would say, though, is, and this is going to come up in step 5. I'm going to hold it and talk about it in step 5, but I'm going to come back to your example of making it personal. Mm-hmm. So step 3 is we're building the 1-year plan. Awesome. That's great. We've got our touch points. We know what we're doing. We're not doing 12 things. We're not in stalker land, but we're memorable and meaningful. Then we're bringing in step 4, which is the language piece. So if step 3 is my meat and potatoes of what we're building, step 4 is the secret sauce that's going to make the meat and potatoes taste good. And what I mean by taste good is make sense, and plant ourselves into the subconscious of our referral sources, because they know we're taking care of them. They know we're being authentic and we're coming from a place of being genuine and showing care, but we're going to use the right language that's going to allow us to plant referral seeds, just like the thank by name example I gave you in the thank you card. Very simple language, but it does a world of good in terms of results. So I always tell folks, everything that I kind of put into my practice and everything I got to put into my 5 steps, like nothing's really rocket science. Knowing who your referral sources are, sending thank you notes, being memorable and meaningful, not rocket science. My superpower is the language piece. And there are lots of different scripts in my program to help people figure out, if you're going to do that Wonder Woman water bottle, well, what the heck are you going to say to make it work and make it meaningful? Right?
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a good thing. Okay, wait, someone said info that they might like from an article. Would that be a good step 3? Actually, Kristen, no. So if there's something that you think that they would really be driven by receiving an article, you can always just send it to them one-off. You can send it to a referral source, read this article, look at paragraph 3, get very specific so they know you're not mass blasting this to everybody. Look at paragraph 3. It's perfect for you, or it's what we were talking about. But I typically tell folks, if you're putting a lot of things in your plan that are emailable, we're not doing the right type of plan, because email is easily forgotten.
For Kristen, it's not, we're talking about your referral sources with you. Right. For Kristen, I think what that refers to possibly is a client that is in your pipeline that you haven't closed yet, and you found an article that would be applicable to something you spoke about at your initial consultation or over the phone. For me, that's a nice touch point for a client in your pipeline. You can send them an article related to, redoing their kitchen or whatever they had originally called you in for. But when it comes to referral sources,
totally different. We have to remove all sales from the referral mindset. So think about your overall sales strategy as having 3 buckets. The prospecting bucket, it's the networking events you go to. If you cold call, if you join a BNI, right? It's all the activities you do that you're like, get me some clients now. And that's your mindset. That's your prospecting bucket. Then you've got your marketing bucket. That's all about maybe it's publicity that you're going to do. Maybe it's publishing articles that you want to do. It's sponsoring events or running advertising. Longer runway, we're trying to build credibility and brand awareness, right? But those are marketing things. And sometimes they're very promotional and gimmicky. Prospecting and marketing are different from your referral bucket. And what we do for our referral bucket is what we do for our referral sources, which is what we're talking about. And step 4 is the step. You cannot do step 3 without step 4, or it's going to fall flat, because it's not going to get you the ultimate results that you're looking for. And kind of understanding how we use the right language, the right messaging from that psychology, subconscious kind of perspective. And then we get to step 5. So what we've been building in step 3 and step 4, but with 2 as well, what we're overall building is a referral experience for your referral sources. And this comes from that Maya Angelou quote that says, people don't remember what you say or what you did, but they remember how you made them feel. Your referral sources won't say, Nancy, thanks for that great experience last year. They don't know. They won't call it an experience, right? But what they'll say is, wow, Nancy makes me feel so important. And Nancy recognizes what I do for her. I want to do more of that, right? Nancy recognizes me. Nancy appreciates me. Nancy doesn't take me for granted. So what they're talking about is how your referral experience makes them feel. But ultimately, what you're giving them is this referral experience for your referral sources. But you guys are all very, very busy business owners, right? You've got installs happening. You've got purchasing happening. You've got onboarding of new clients. You've got meeting with prospects. You're dealing with team members. You're dealing with contractors. You're always running behind, right? You've got a lot going on. So as a business owner, for your referral experience, you need it to be a process. You need to be something that you build once, and then you know how to execute on it, because you can delegate, you can automate, you can systematize pieces of it. I call it processitizing it inside the program. Nancy, I don't know if that's a word. I just really like saying it.
I like it. I like the word processitizing.
We take what we've built, and then we processitize it into our business so it becomes part of our workflow, and so that we actually can make sure it happens, which goes back to the question about how personalized do you get. The crazy thing about it is, if we start paying attention to our referral sources, what we actually notice, and this happens in step 1, is when we dig into understanding who they are and what they have in common. I didn't know that a lot of my referral sources were business owners or working professionals that were also parents until I started paying attention. Well, then Mother's Day and Father's Day became a no-brainer, so that I could take 2 holidays and hit like 80% of my referral sources that I wanted to with this one holiday and do the same thing for them. Now, I didn't send dads a Wonder Woman water bottle. That is not good, right? But I sent them something else. But that allows me to kind of do one thing for everybody and it still be meaningful for each person. So definitely. Wait, hold on. Kaden just asked a question. How do you recommend asking for someone's address if a referral comes in via email? So, okay, wait, Kaden, I want to make sure I understand what you're asking. So if someone sent you a referral and you need their address to be able to mail them something to say thank you, do you think that's what he's asking?
So I clarify this. Kaden is my son and he is my business manager. And we just got the referral via email right before we went live. Like I told you, somebody's referring someone to me. So I'm partially, and obviously, Kaden, you can answer as well if I'm misinterpreting that. But if someone sends you an email referring someone, then do you turn around and say, would you mind giving me your mailing address?
Oh, okay. So you're saying you got referred by someone
via email.
And now you need to thank them. And so you're like, where do I send the card? Okay. So first I would say, Kaden, Nancy, I want you guys to do a little bit of research. I want you to see if you can find them on Google first. And a business address is just as good as a home address. And actually, sometimes a business address is better because then if they work at a company, their colleagues see things happening. Now, if you're doing something in the home, then you can stick to the home, but see if you can find it first. But absolutely, if you can't find it, just say, hey, I needed to drop something in the mail to you. Can't seem to locate your address. Can you help me out with that? And everyone's like, ooh, what are they going to mail me? Sure. Here's my address. Most people don't have a problem. If they trust you enough to send you someone they know who needs your service, they're probably very comfortable to give you a physical mailing address. So most definitely, you just got to ask. And sometimes that happens for me. Like sometimes I have to go back and be like, I just want to make sure I got the right address here. And then I'm sure they're like, oh, something's coming. Yay. Build anticipation. There's nothing wrong with building anticipation. That's a good thing. So yes, you can definitely ask for the address if you don't have it. But I always try to investigate first. Like I'll tell my assistant, I'm like, they own a business. I'm pretty sure the address is on their business page, is on their website, right? Go find that before we go asking for it.
Okay. And Stacey, we're coming close to 5:30 and I like to respect everyone's time. And there's other people that have Facebook Lives after me. Can you even imagine? So what on a Friday night? One question I want to go back to from Kristen. This was a while back, but I'm assuming she's referring to the fact that referral sources that may have come from past clients are bringing clients that are not at the level she would like. And I have plenty to say about that, but I'd love to hear your take on if all your past clients or you have 0 past clients, where do you get started so that you can actually get referrals from different sources?
So, I always tell folks when you're receiving referrals of your non-ideal client, in the very beginning, I actually want you to focus more on quantity over quality. And I know that sounds very like, what? That's terrible advice, but it's not. Because what I want to do in the beginning, when someone's building the habit of referring you, I just want them to get comfortable referring you. I don't want you to make it difficult for them to have to pre-qualify who they should send to you. Just get them in the habit of pre-qualifying you. Then once they've sent you a couple, then I want you to loop back around and have a conversation with them about, thank you so much for referring me so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. I'm so bummed. Use your language. This is how I would say it. I'm so bummed that I wasn't able to help them, but this is what they needed. And here's what I actually am able to do. So I wasn't able to help them, but thank you so much. So you're educating and you're thanking all at the same time. And you didn't say, so don't send me anybody crappy again. What you basically said was, if you send people like this, I won't be able to help them, but here's how I'm helping them find the next person they need, right? But here's who I'm able to help, so that they understand it. But it's not hard for them to be like, got it, if they're in the habit. If you say it up front because they send you someone not great, you just became someone they're not going to refer to because you just put a barrier in place. Right.
Okay. That's Kristen's follow-up on what we were saying. Okay, before we have to shut down our Facebook Live so everyone who watches John Tedesco's Happy Hour can get ready, tell everyone how to find you. And thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait for Luann Nagara Live and to meet you in person and watch your panel and the coaching that you're going to do up on that stage. So if anyone wants more information about LuannNagara.live, go to Luann Nagara's website and come join us. There's going to be 15 authors, I think, in total, including Luann and her husband, and I'm losing track.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, Nancy. And if people want to check out more about me, I always tell folks to go to my home base, which is my website, StaceyBrownRandall.com. Stacey has an E. And I always tell folks the best place to get started on even your referral journey is how good are you at generating referrals now? I have a 9-question quiz you can take. Just go to StaceyBrownRandall.com/quiz and take the Referral Ninja quiz and figure out what level you are. And you'll be one of 3 levels. I'm not going to reveal them, but you'll be one of 3 levels. The top level is a master. Only 2% of people who take it are, so don't expect to be a master. But
I'm
take
gonna go
it and find out. Yeah, figure out, are you a referral ninja master or not? You're going to be one of 2 other levels if you're not. But that's going to give you some information to start you on the journey to figure out what would it look like to actually cultivate more referrals in your business. It's a great place to start. I also have a free Facebook group, Referrals Without Asking, 1,100 professionals in there, lots of interior designers, but lots of other industries that are in there as well. I've had interior designers go through my program and stuff. So join the free Facebook group, Referrals Without Asking, or take the quiz at StaceyBrownRandall.com/quiz.
Stacey, please, thank you. And go in after the broadcast and put these 2 links in the comments so that people can find you, just in case they couldn't write as fast as you talk. I love how fast you talk. I mean, it's just, I'm like in awe listening to you. It's like,
thank you.
It's fabulous. So, yep. And then John just wrote happy hour on Thursday. Oh, January 20. Oh, wait, next happy hour is not today, John? You're not doing happy hour today? All right. I guess not. But the next happy hour is Thursday, January 24th with Robin Barron. And next week, for those of you who are still here with us or watch on replay, next week I'm having the president of the Interior Design Society National Board and the director to talk all about why you want to join a national organization. And what it can do for you, and specifically about the Interior Design Society, of which I'm the president of the virtual chapter and an executive board member. So I hope you'll join then and hear how it has enhanced our lives. I've been a member for I think about 7-8 years now, and what it can do for you. So thank you so much, Stacey. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please share the broadcast. I'm Nancy Gensikoffer, business coach to interior designers and other creative entrepreneurs, and I will see you guys next week for Weekend Wind Down. Bye.
Bye.